Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So I had a few people on the team message me. They're a bit worried after watching my collectibles bubble video. So let's have a look at the comic book market today. Yeah, we'll check out some CGC 9.8 prices and sales because the prices are not showing any worry at all for 9.8 comics especially. And just a lot of like all-time high prices for some key issues here to get into. So a full list, really interesting. All the prices we'll talk about are in US dollars, all CGC 9.8s, and I'll have a list in the description below with the prices as well. So first book here, I guess a new member to the $9.8 thousand club. It's an Amazing Spider-Man 316. And maybe a bit unfortunate for me because I've been mentioning on this one in the channel lately that I kind of wanted one more copy. I got two of them in the 9.8, but just, you know, my all-time favorite Venom cover, basically, so wanted kind of one more because it seemed to be a bit undervalued, where kind of Amazing Spider-Man 300's 9.8 prices had went, Hulk 340, 9.8, Batman 423, 9.8, all those McFarlane issues were over 1,000 in the 9.8 pretty much. This one around 700, I was thinking a good value. Now it looks like they're over 1,000, so 1,300 I saw one sell for, and I think there was one or two that went over $1,000 as well, 1,300 being the highest. So, you know, such a great book. I think if you got a long-term time horizon, you might still want to get in there and grab one around $1,000. I'm still possibly thinking about that. You know, hopefully an auction pops up in Canada or something like that. I think this one still makes sense right around $1,000 going into Venom 2. It's a tough one. Maybe if you want to be super strategic, you wait like 6 to 12 months after the Venom 2 movie and maybe they're like 800 or 900 but you know, yeah, I think around 1,000, it's a great book, and in the 9.8 that still seems like a decent value right now. Okay, another all-time high price here to get through. A New Mutants 98 in the CGC 9.8. This one just exploding with the Deadpool 3 movie confirmed now, and first appearance of Deadpool, pretty cool cover, super classic, selling for an all-time high, this one, yeah, $2,750 in the CGC 9.8. That is pretty hard to believe. Even this one, all last year, you know, Deadpool was coming back to the MCU, but no confirmation, was even under $1,000, I think. This one's really just skyrocketed in the last month or two. Maybe it's the stimulus checks. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out. $2,750, I would still look to, you know, wait for a lull because Deadpool 3 is confirmed, but it's going to be like 2 years before it comes out at least. So there's going to be some lulls. Hopefully you get this one closer to 2,000. There's a lot of these. This is an early 90s, 9.8, 3,000 something of them. I didn't look this morning on the census. I'm pretty sure it's over 3,000. It might be 2,900 or, you know, something like that. But a lot of them out there, early 90s book in the 9.8. So pretty surprised to see that all-time high price though. And that's kind of the story with most of the books on the list this morning. Okay, next one here. An Ultimate Follow 4 in the first print. CGC 9.8. So a couple, you know, this one had really taken another leg in the last 2 weeks. You know, first appearance of Miles Morales, new Spider-Man. So what surprised me was 2,692, and that was like a week ago, and I was like, wow, craziness. But there was an auction, and this I think is an all-time high of $3,155 someone paid for one of these. In the first print, $3,155. Maybe some of the stimulus checks here. A lot of these like go-to books, you know, first Deadpool, first Miles Morales, you kind of no-brainer books are really being bid up now. So I wouldn't personally pay over $3,000 for this one. Definitely closer to $2,000, I would say, is still going to be doable in some lulls here in the next year. Because certainly, you know, the coronavirus stimulus checks I don't think are going to last forever. But of note too, I think I took a note of, what was it here? Yes, a Djurjevic variant, an Ultimate Follow 4, the more rare Djurjevic variant. Saw one of those sell on eBay too in the 9.8. It was in Canada actually too. It was, when you do the conversion, it was $18,900 or best offer. $18,000 about or best offer. So that one might have went for 15, 16,000, and they were a few had sort of went there for 13 to 15,000. I think was the last few sales that had went for that book. So, but it was an OBO. So, yeah, I'm not too sure what that one went for. But one did sell, and their asking price was $18,907. Hopefully, probably went around $15,000, I would imagine. Ultimate Fallout 4, as hot as ever, and maybe it's some of the coronavirus checks. I would be a little bit patient on this one right now, and maybe even New Mutants 98, and a lot of these ones just, you know, hitting the all-time high prices. You probably want to be patient. Next one here, though, a classic that is kind of hitting some all-time high prices as well. Maybe SpiderMan 238, first appearance of Hobgoblin. A pretty tough one in the 9.8 because it had those tattoos in the comic. So, yeah, this one's a few all-time high prices here. And it's being pretty heavily speculated on that Hobgoblin might be the next villain in the next Spider-Man movie. So, one had sold for $3,701 in the CGC 9.8. An all-time high. Yeah, this one, we were seeing them sort of tick over 2,000 in the 9.8 in the last 3 to 6 months, maybe. But 3,701 is an all-time high for a direct, and a newsstand version went for $5,000 even. So this was one when I purchased mine for just over 1,000. It was. Even some of the newsstands you'd see back then sell for like 1,000. Like it was almost equal, sort of. Occasionally you would see a newsstand, but yeah, newsstands have gotten hot, certainly. We've talked about that in the last 6 months. Newsstand going for $5,000 in this one. The direct $3,701. Again, probably, you know, some of the rumors heating this one up for that movie. If that movie doesn't happen, you know, this could be maybe a bit of a short-term high for this one, but certainly if Hobgoblin gets in that next, like, Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, I'm sure there's still more upside, around 3,701 for this one, and it's a pretty tough 9.8, as I mentioned. Okay, the next one we'll get into, one I don't have, unfortunately. It's Uncanny X-Men, number 266. First full appearance of Gambit. I think this is an all-time high for this one, too, in the direct version. Definitely a go-to book that people are thinking about right now, leading into possibly new MCU X-Men movies. $1,045 this one went for. And, you know, when you think about this one, it was a similar story to New Mutants 98 for me, where early 90s book, maybe not, you know, maybe you don't want to, you know, pay up for it or anything like that. But once Deadpool 3 was confirmed, you know, this one's shooting up so much. So, you know, maybe Uncanny X-Men 266, once the MCU X-Men gets confirmed, there's probably still going to be some more upside. So you can probably get it better, but this is an all-time high, 1,045, the direct version in the 9.8. You probably want to be patient here, get it closer to like 900 maybe, but still one to think about for sure, and a classic book. All right, next one, a great modern, yeah, and interesting one that might be pulling back in price a little bit. Darth Vader, number 3, the Larocca variant. Yeah, the Mandalorian show's over now, so Star Wars is still hot, but maybe not as hot as it was like 2 months ago or 3 months ago. So this Larocca variant, there were quite a few sales over 2,000. I think people were paying like 2,100 to 2,300, 2,400 in the 9.8 this one. I like this one. It's the only variant of Darth Vader 3. A lot of times, you know, variants, there's like 10 variants and you got to choose one. This is the only variant for Darth Vader 3, and it has a really cool cover. So it's one I've kind of wanted, but I sort of sucked my thumb on it and it just kept going up, and I wasn't aggressive enough to get it. So, but seeing one sell for $1,913.88 in an auction, this one was. So yeah, I even when this price was over 2,000, I said, you know, be patient and definitely wait for under 2,000. But now it's a really wantable book, and I think you can think about wanting to buy it under 2,000 if you're really serious about this one, because it is a great book. And Doctor Aphra gets in a show. The upside's a lot higher for that one, I think. All right, next one. I didn't bring my note. Probably should have. I just forgot. Seeing a few Incredible Hulk 340 sell. So this one has basically went over $1,000 now, I guess we could say. There was, I think we documented one on some of these pricing videos that had went over 1,000, but I was saying maybe you want to be patient. But one selling in the direct for $1,200. These are both eBay sales too. And I saw a Signature Series one sell. And this was from someone on the team had sold this one. Yeah, a really great one they had in their collection for $1,799. So $1,800 we'll call it. Signature Series signed by McFarlane. Hulk 340. So that's a great one. But still, that's an all-time high, I'm pretty sure. in a signature series, 1,800 for this book, and an all-time high in the direct, 1,200. There might have been maybe a few that have gone higher than 1,200, but this was one again 6 months ago. Could buy around 800. Maybe it's the stimulus checks. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward. Cool book that I saw that, wow, I don't know if the prices are increasing now because of the Falcon Winter Soldier show. I think it is Captain America #6, the variant in the CGC 9.8. I saw it sell for $799.95, so $800. And I was used to really seeing that one for the last year or so go from, let's say, like 300 to maybe 400, in the last little bit when the market's heated up. But I remember this one going for closer to 200, like a year and a half ago. $800 for the variant. Winter Soldier is on the cover, so this is the first full appearance of Winter Soldier, so it is kind of the one to get, this variant version. But $800, I'm pretty sure, is an all-time high, and I wouldn't pay that price for this. Be patient. That show's coming out, or whatever it is. I'm not too on top of these things, but I would be patient on Captain America 6 right now. But it was a great one. That's one we talked about for the last year as a really cool one to buy, around like 200 to 250. The variant was about 250 to 300, so that one's come a long way. Okay, next one, Uncanny X-Men 158. We talked about this, first Rogue and Uncanny on an underfollowed X-Men video as just a cool one to think about leading into some of these X-Men MCU movies possibly. And a 9.8 selling for $249.95. And I saw one of these. I'm pretty sure they were selling sort of 175 to 200 range. So maybe someone recognizing that it is kind of a cool secondary Rogue key, paying $250 for it. Maybe you want to be patient, wait closer to 200. The X-Men MCU movies aren't coming for like years, so there's going to be some lulls, I think. Hopefully get that closer to 200. Uncanny X-Men 158, not 250. Cool X-Men one. Next one, a modern from the 90s. Yeah, X-Men #53 in the CGC 9.8. Selling in an auction. This one's from 1996. First full appearance of Onslaught. And, maybe a cool villain to speculate on leading into MCU. Who knows? They use Onslaught, even though the story was a bit weird how Onslaught kind of worked out. But seeing one sell in the 9.8, it's a pretty cool one, $137.50. That, I think, is a great deal for this one. I remember about a year ago in the 9.8, they sell right around this price. I actually have a CBCS 9.8 of this book, and I just thought of it right now. Otherwise, I probably would have brought it up to show. But it's, kind of, I remember this book from collecting comic books in this era, right in that kind of mid-90s was when I was right into it as a kid. And first full appearance of Onslaught might be one to think about. $137.50, a good price, yeah. I think I've saw them go up to $150 to $160 even in the last year for an X-Men 53. Definitely an underfollowed 90s book. All right, saw a You're the Villain, Hell Arisen #3 in the CGC 9.8 sell. First full appearance of Punchline. This is a cool one. I do think it is kind of the Punchline book to get if you just want to get one to, have some exposure to her first appearance. First full appearance here, $255 in the 9.8. Yeah, and, this is one I hadn't really thought about buying too much, but definitely recently came around to thinking like this is the one Punchline book to get. And I do like the cover too, and it was a little bit less printed, I think, than Batman 89 as well. So I think in the 9.8, it's a pretty cool collector item. And yeah, you know what, $255, I'm pretty sure that was an auction price. And maybe you got it closer to 200 if you're lucky. But if you want that one, yeah, I think how the market's going, like, yeah, $250 is a pretty good value. Next one's an interesting one. Instead of talking about the main issue, well, it's Amazing Spider-Man 362 I want to touch on. Seeing a direct version of this book sell for $155.50. Yeah, this is like second appearance of Carnage, a really great cover. I love it. I got this one in the 9.8 as well. I got 361, 362, 363. Those were like three books that I just totally loved as a kid and really, really wanted as a kid and didn't have them either, so wanted to get them in the 9.8. But this one's come a long way. Like, Amazing Spider-Man 362 was a great value a year or two ago. I always thought where you'd see auctions in the direct version go for like $60 to $70, maybe $80. The newsstand version selling for like $90, maybe $100. Always thought that was a screaming value. Kind of hitting myself for not picking up more because I know that these are just great covers. So this 362 in the direct selling for $155.50. Yeah, so they've pretty much doubled in price leading into the Carnage movie. But I still think, given how everything's really increased in price a lot, I think $155.50 for a 362 is a pretty decent value right now. Second appearance of Carnage and great cover. Yeah, just especially if you remember it, if you were a kid, and it's just a great one to have in the collection. Okay, moving along here. Dark Horse presents number 24. I saw selling the CGC 9.8, kind of a secondary Aliens key here, the origin of Aliens in this one. And yeah, these Dark Horse Presents books are pretty great ones actually for underfollowed 9.8s. If maybe you want to get ahead of some of the Aliens and Predators. Some of these books have like previews, and this one, the origin of Aliens, Dark Horse Presents number 24, is selling for $349.99. I think that's pretty good, given that in the 9.8 the Aliens number 1 in the first print, there's not a lot of them. It's so hard to find. It's super expensive. So this one is, a easier one to find, and around $349.99 I think is a great buy. Whoever bought this, yeah, Dark Horse Presents number 24, Origin Aliens, leading into MCU, or Disney just bought the rights back to Aliens versus Predator like 6 months ago or whatever it was, I think. So you can expect more Aliens and Predator content. They're already making Predator comics, so with kind of crossing over into SpiderMan comics and stuff like that. All right, next one's a pretty cool, affordable one that surprised to see a bit of a higher price here, maybe. Amazing Spider-Man number 529. First Iron Spider Spidey suit appearance here with the cool cover as well. This one really heated up when the Iron Spider-Man suit was like first in the MCU movies. One selling for $176, which I think is a decent price right now. This was one like a year or two ago that was a great affordable one, around $100. So people paying $176 for it. I think it's a cool affordable one if you're a Spider-Man fan, and it's kind of a cold one. Like, certainly the Iron Spider-Man suit hasn't been in any like recent movie, so you can get a good deal on that one. Next one here is a Star Wars number 23 in the CGC 9.8. I really like this one. It's a classic Darth Vader cover. A lot of people target 21. Issue 21 is the first solo Darth Vader story, sort of outside of the adaptation comics in Star Wars. But 23, I think, is a better Darth Vader cover, and it's more rare in the 9.8. And I've saw the prices over time that the prices are higher in this one in the 9.8. So 9.8 collectors like this one more. Seeing one sell for $232.50 in an auction in the 9.8. So yeah, this is a cool one that I've wanted, and I remember auctions going for it right around $150 kind of early last year when the market was a lot cooler. But looks like you got to pay $232.50 for this one. Yeah, Star Wars 23 though. It's a really cool, if you're a Darth Vader fan, cool one in the 9.8 or the Raw to consider. Okay, really awesome to see this next one sell. A G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero number 1 in the CGC 9.8 in an auction too. Because we had talked about some market manipulation that could be happening where one of these had sold for $5,000. It was a week or two ago, or maybe about a month ago now. Seeing one in an auction though, it was a direct version, I'm pretty sure, $2,550 in an auction. So that's making a little more sense, and $5,000 there seemed really expensive and really odd when most of them were going from sort of $1,000 to $1,500, I think, or maybe some people might have been getting up to the $2,000, but it just goes to show you how hot the market is. So, but cool to see a G.I. Joe in an auction. Can't believe it. I made a video early last year saying I overpaid for my G.I. Joe, this exact book. I overpaid for mine. It's a great looking copy too, for $375. And because I'd saw some complete listings in the months before that for $325, $300. So bought mine for $375. It's about a year later. Honestly, yeah, it's a year later. Now they're $2,550. It just shows like how much the 9.8 market has come. Next book is a book I've been wrong about, but it makes sense why it's increasing in price. A Young Avengers number 1 in the 9.8. I've heard people say there's confirmations of like a Young Avengers show or animated movie or something like that. I personally haven't read anything or saw anything. I don't follow these things too hard, but $610 in the 9.8, seeing one sell in an auction. And this was one where when it was like $250 to $300, I was like, nah, I don't really like this one. If you like the cover and you were into this one and when it came out, then hell yeah. But just as a collector, I don't really like when it's like Avengers, then they're like Young Avengers and Dark Avengers and Secret Avengers and New Avengers. Like, it's just not creative, I don't think, on the surface, I guess. But maybe it's a great story, and there is first appearances of like Kate Bishop, I think it is. So $610 in the 9.8. You know, that's probably around the fair price there. Hopefully a little under 600 if you want a Young Avengers #1 in the 9.8. Cool one to take note of that had sold. Vision and Scarlet Witch #1 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, this one from 1982. It's pretty much like a limited series. This one was a really cool one that I almost put on a cold list. It was quite a while ago when you'd started hearing the rumblings of the WandaVision show coming out. But now, you know, certainly the WandaVision show is doing pretty good. And seeing one sell for $330. I remember when I was looking to purchase them, they were like $140 to $150. So it just goes to show how a lot of these things you want to be a little patient on if there's like a really popular show out there. And this might be that book that you might want to aim maybe closer to like $250 in 6 to 12 months. But a really cool one though. Yeah. And seeing one sell for $330. Vision and Scarlet Witch #1 limited series. All right. Next one is actually, I think, probably one of the better Star Wars books right now that's still somewhat affordable. Yeah, it's this is I think a great price for it. It's a Star Wars Thrawn #1. So I'm pretty sure this is the first Thrawn solo book, and not his first appearance, but first solo book. And seeing one sell for $130.27. Yeah, so this really reminds me of if you were to buy like Vision and Scarlet Witch a year ago for $130. You know, you buy this Thrawn book for around $130, and then if Thrawn gets in the MCU and gets in all these movies, this one's $330, like the Vision and Scarlet Witch book, because they're pretty similar. Like they're kind of the first solo book. So Star Wars Thrawn #1, $130.27. I saw one sell in 9.8. I think that was a great buy, and it's a great one to consider right now at that price. Next one, a really special book I saw sell. Yeah, I had to take note. An Amazing Spider-Man #252, 9.8. The Canadian price variant of it in a signature series signed by Stan Lee. So whoever bought this, I think it's a fantastic buy. Yeah, they paid $3,816. Signed by Stan Lee and the rare Canadian price variant. I'm pretty sure they said it was a 1 of 3. So I didn't see this auction, and I didn't actually take note if it was in the US or Canada, but if I would have saw it, that is, you know, the rare Canadian price variant signed by Stan Lee. I still want to get some signed by Stan Lee. That's one of the things I don't have because I'm not a big signature series collector, but I still want some signed by Stan. That's a huge book, a rare one. I'm pretty sure 1 of 3, and it's a $3,816 US dollars. I think is a great buy. Yeah, a really serious investment book there. All right, last one here. Yeah, last book. All right. Pretty cool to see this one because it's definitely a popular series, modern book. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin, #1. The first prints, because there's quite a few variants to consider in this one. Absolutely second prints that are a little bit less printed, I think. But in the first print, cool cover, and just the kind of cover A main version. Seeing one in an auction sell for $150. I think that's a pretty good deal. And saw one sell for $169.99 and $174.99. So you're patient on this one. You wait for an auction. It's $150 if you want it right now. Closer to $175 to $200, I think. And out of the moderns, yeah, I didn't get into the Last Ronin too much, but if you did, it's I think a pretty cool one around that price. Okay, so that is the full list. I will have a list in the description below with all the prices. So, you know, I think some of these messages I got in the last few days were almost before some of these prices that Ultimate Fallout 4 came out and sold for like $3,100. So I don't know if those people are much worried anymore because the prices are just reaching another level here. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. It's probably related to the stimulus in the United States. I haven't really been, you know, following the stock market news as much usually as I normally do. So I'm not too on top of like when the stimulus is exactly coming, but you definitely hear people that I think it was passed or something in the, you know, in the legislature, and it's going to, you know, that people are going to be getting the check soon, apparently, another round, which is pretty great for the market, I guess, and the prices are really like just a lot of all-time highs and you know, big key issues. So another level to this thing, is it a bubble? I'm not sure. Check out that collectibles bubble video I made. Definitely went into it on that video, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. At the same time, I'm, you know, apprehensive that the prices are going up so much, but pretty awesome to enjoy it, having a lot of the classic keys. Yeah, these are just the big keys that 2 years ago I was really pounding the table on. You know, they're super obvious. You know, first appearance of Hobgoblin, first Deadpool, first new Spider-Man, Miles Morales, so popular, first awesome Venom cover. A lot of the other McFarlane books that they're, you know, McFarlane just has his whole cult of fans. So all of those are just all pretty much getting into the all-time highs. And kind of cool to see that Darth Vader 3 maybe pulling back a little bit with Mandalorian off the air now, that, you know, or, you know, no new episodes coming out, and cooling down a tad. So that's kind of a healthy thing to see. You know, some books cooling down, even though the attention a lot of times goes to the ones that are getting the all-time high prices. Okay, so market's staying hot. Don't know what else to say. It's just, you know, higher prices every week almost on these market update videos. Thanks so much for watching, team, though. Really appreciate all the support from the whole team. Yeah, and I'll see you on the next one.